Good morning, good morning. If you just give me 1 second, I'm going to be clicking a few buttons here, and I'm running a little bit behind simply because yeah, I work out in the mornings on these mornings. And how do I click
this? Just give me 1 second. I'm going to be clicking a few buttons here.
Oh wait, here we go. Copy link.
I'm running a little bit
trying to actually share the good news while we're all here together. But yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, I'm actually not going to do numbers today. I'm going to jump into 2 Samuel chapter 10. This last Sunday, I guess that's yesterday, right? Teaching on marriage. But even though you spend 6 verses talking about the wives in 1 Peter 3, that last verse to the men, there's a lot in there. And in our men's group, and I shared this post I saw someone else share where it just says, what is it? If you're tired, do it tired. And maybe I'm different. Maybe I'm not wired like every other man. But that kind of stuff inspires me. Whew. Like if you're tired, do your live stream tired. In 2 Samuel 10, Joab is off fighting a battle against the Syrians. He's leading an army, and his brother Abishai is leading another army. And these two men are fighting battles on 2 different fronts. Now, it's interesting because I guess there's the Ammonites and the Syrians. So there's 2 different enemies, 2 different battles, but all going on at the same time. And in reality, that's the way it is with us, too. That we have many brothers, and we're all fighting different battles. And they're perhaps different enemies. We have one enemy, that's for sure. But different demons, different temptations, different addictions, different burdens that have to be borne. And so we're all fighting these battles. And it's all going on at the same time. And it's just like this in 2 Samuel chapter 10. And in verse 11, he said, if the Syrians, Joab talking to his brother, if the Syrians are too strong for me, then you shall help me. But if the people of Ammon are too strong for you, then I will come and help you. Be of good courage, and let us be strong for our people and for the cities of our God, and may the Lord do what is good in his sight. And so what you see here is, well, in short, let us be strong. I believe it is in the King James or the Authorized where it says, let us play the men for our people. Let us play the men for our people. What it was these 2 men were fighting 2 different battles, but they also realized that many other men were looking to them. And if one man began to struggle, he was calling upon his brother to come in and help him, to confess that he needs help. That if I'm not doing well, I need you to come in and support me. And as we support each other, we will be victorious. And the other men will see us and will gain strength as they see our success. And this is a recipe for success, where men step up and help the other men to be strong on behalf of everyone else. In 1 Corinthians chapter 16, in verse 13, Paul says, watch, stand fast in the faith, be brave, be strong. But that word, be brave, in the Greek, andrizomai, which I like the King James better, quit you like men, right? Be a man. Put on your man clothes. Quit you. Get dressed up and be a man. And that's the exhortation that we've got these days, is you got to step up and be a man. This was on my heart even this morning as I was sharing all these Spartan quotes. But the Spartans were just the most manly of men. They were so macho. And I mean, they weren't Christian, man. And, it wasn't what we looked up to them for. But there was a culture there where, as a young boy, boys were being raised to turn them into Spartans. And today, much of that is lost. Young boys don't have masculine fathers to look up to. Young boys are not being trained to be men. They're kind of just left to themselves to go play video games. And who knows what? There are many men today who don't really know what they ought to be because there was no father in their life directing them in the right direction. They're in their 20s, they're in their 30s, and they still haven't quite figured out who they're supposed to be because they had no role models. Because Joab and Abishai weren't there to play the men for the people, so the people had someone to look to and stand up, and kind of grow up to be like. We're told to bear each other's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. In Galatians, we're told not to grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. Part of being a man is doing hard things. Just when it's tough, you keep on going. And that's where I like that quote that kind of started my kick. Again, the teaching on marriage was part of it, but then again, that quote, if you're tired, do it tired. I loved it because it is. That's what we're called to do. We're called to do it tired. I have no need or reason to boast, but it's an example that at least makes sense in my own mind. I was a wrestler, and I lifted weights, and that was kind of just my hobby. So for me, it's a hobby. It's something I enjoy. Not everyone enjoys it. So it's like, if it's not for them, it's not for them. That's fine. I've typically been one of the stronger people in my groups of friends. Usually. And I know some guys who are into exercising, you look up to people who are stronger. That was actually how I started going to church. Was God brought two really strong men into my life, of whom I've still not gotten as strong as either of those men. But it caught my attention. It drew me into the church. God used it. But you look up to people because if they're better at a sport you play, anyone who seems to be really excels in something that you're interested in, you want to get underneath that and learn from them and grow. And as far as physical fitness is concerned, this is what I would say is that people might admire the amount of weight I could lift or the muscles you build from doing it. But a lot of people don't join me where I just was in the weight room and actually see me sometimes cry, legitimately actually start to tear up because I'm so tired. But I have 2 more sets left. And it seems insane, I know, for people who don't like exercise. I get it. But for me, it's like I'm going to do those 2 sets. And I actually have tears start coming because it's like it actually hurts. Not in an injurious way. I'm not going to try and injure myself. But it burns so bad. And I will do my reps, and I will finish that set, and I will be panting and tearing up even, and I'll go back for the next one. Why? Well, I have a goal. I actually don't even know what my goals are, but I have a goal to get stronger, and I have a goal to continue to press on, and I have a goal, it's something fun, and I aspire to do it, and it's such a petty thing, and it's worthless in the end, right? This is all going to burn, exercise profits little, Paul says. But for me, it makes sense as just an analogy, because you see, I want to be something, and I want to do something, and I realize it's going to be hard to get there. And if I want to get there, I'm going to have to push through the pain, I'm going to have to push through the difficulty and just keep going. If we want to be the kind of husbands that God has called us to be, you might have to push through the pain and push through some tears. And the same goes for women. You want to be a godly mom and a godly wife, and the kids have got you at your wit's end. But that's the thing is, quit you like men. Let us play the men on behalf of our people. The church needs godly men and women who will push through the pain, who will push through the difficulty, who will hold fast, even when things look bleak, so that this world has people to look to as leaders and as mentors, people who can model the Christian faith for us. So, stand fast in the faith, quit you like men, and let's see what our God will do. All right, that's all I have for this morning. God bless you guys. Have a great day. I'll probably be on time tomorrow. Mondays are always the hardest day for me to get back on time. I'm usually a few minutes late on Mondays. So, all right, you guys take care, and I'll see you around.